A model in Insight Maker is really intended to tell a story and provide an insight. All of the various loops and interconnections within the structure of the model, the relationships, have an implication out of which there should in fact be an insight. And if you can present that model to someone else in an orderly fashion, it's generally easier for them to understand than if you simply present the whole thing to them at once. So I'm very excited to provide you with an introduction to a new feature in Insight Maker called storytelling. It allows you to go ahead and take a model and build a script so that the model is presented to someone in the manner that you would like them to become aware of it piece by piece. There's a new button up here called Add Story, and if you open it, it gives you a little window with a set of options so that I can first go ahead and say it's enabled, and then I can add a step. And the first step that I want to do is change the visibility, because I want to hide all of the model so I can present it piece by piece. Now I can either select items from this drop down that I want to change the visibility for, or I can hold down the control key and I can select a number of pieces from the model itself, and then go ahead and say select from diagram, and that adds all of those pieces. And then I can go ahead and change the opacity to 10, and then I can add another step that says I want to show a message, and I say begin with some rabbits, though before I show that message I probably want to go ahead and change the visibility for rabbits itself. So let me just select rabbits, though the first thing I did was I hid all of the items. Then I want to go ahead and show rabbits and show a message, so I really want these two steps to happen together. So there's an option called group steps, so I can then go ahead and select these two items and drop them in the folder. And you can also rename folders, and this say is rabbits. So now I have two steps, three steps, but two parts of it. The first part to simply change the visibility of all the pieces, and then to show the rabbits. So if I now go ahead and apply this, I now have an option down here at the bottom that says View Story. So if I click this, now note the message here that any changes made to the model while you're in the storytelling mode will not be saved. And it'll be annoying the first couple of times if you do that, but afterwards you sort of remember that you're not supposed to change the model while you're in the story. So the first thing it does is it hides all the elements, and I tell it to step forward. It says begin with some rabbits, and that's all I've coded to this point. So I can now go ahead and exit, and the other things that you can add is you can, if there are folders, and there are none in this model, but I'll show you some in a moment, you can add an option to open and close folders, and you can actually code actions that you want to happen as part of the sequence. And one of the simple ones might be run model. Within this run action element, you can define or use all of the API commands that have been developed for Insight Maker, which is it's an extremely rich set of functions, in addition to all of the valid JavaScript commands. So all of that can be coded in run action steps. So if I apply this and now do the view story, it goes through and first displays the rabbits, and then it actually runs the model. And I probably should have said some comments about the model itself, but this is just a short intro. You can open and close the folders. You can drag things to move them around. Note that if you make any changes to the model while you're in the story designer, you need to close the story designer and open it back up to be able to access those things that you've changed in the model itself. So that you can add steps, you can also remove steps. You can set up to indicate should this in fact automatically run when someone opens the model. Should it never run? Should it run automatically for people that don't have edit access to it? Or should it always run? And those are options that you can code. So and this window is also resizable. So if you have a long sequence of items, all the new steps that you add are at the bottom, and you may have to find them all the way at the bottom so that you can move them back up. A longer example of this that's already been implemented, if I view this story, it gives me the note. The first thing it does is it opens the folder. It displays rabbits and says first we start with a few rabbits. Then it shows the flow, the birth, but it also displays this note, which is the note attached to births, and I'll show you how that's done in a moment. Then it shows the feedback loop and the birth rate, which interact to figure out what the births are going to be each cycle, and then it runs the model. So this particular example, which is accessible online, if you look at it, no, I don't want to embed it. I want to look at the story. There are quite a few number of steps that are set up so that the first thing that it does is it closes the top bar and the right bar because I don't want to see those. Then it changes the visibility of all of the parts of the model. Then it goes ahead and toggles, it opens that folder, changes the visibility on the folder itself so I can see it. Then it shows the rabbits, shows a message in the rabbits. Then the rabbit births, and I said there's an action that I put in so that it says show note find name births. This is two API commands put together so that it go finds the note that's attached to this element and actually displays it, and then down here it actually hides that note. So this is a longer example that in fact shows a larger number of steps. The folders are named, it turns things on, turns them off, and you can access this and look at it. There's even a longer example called The Boy Who Cried Wolf, which is one of Aesop's fables, in that the first thing it does, we end up with a boy tending sheep who's bored and wants attention. He then cries wolf, and he cries wolf because he believes that the townspeople will come running and make him the center of attraction. So what we have is a boredom relief loop, though what one needs to realize is that there is seldom only one implication of an action, so that if he cries wolf and there is no wolf, it actually represents a lie. And the implication of that is that it decreases the belief-o-meter and reduces the likelihood of people coming running so that he won't become the center of attraction. So this is a vicious reinforcing structure which reduces the belief and the likelihood that people come running. And there's still more than that, so that if he cries wolf and there is a wolf, that actually represents truth, which increases the belief-o-meter. So this is a favorable balancing loop which improves belief, so that the whole sense of the story is that you need to realize that oftentimes what appears to be the action to create the result that you want is likely to produce the exact opposite. So here is an example that's also linked in, which is a story for Aesop's fable, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And if you got to this model through the context, there are a number of other models linked to it that you can view. If you got to this video through the video itself, there's a context link in it which will take you back to this context so that you can access these other demo models and the Insight Maker API and enjoy using it. I have found it very easy to put together, and I think it goes a long way in simply helping to present a model to other people in a way that isn't immediately overwhelming, because it allows one to unfold it in an orderly fashion to tell the story in the manner that you really want the model to tell the story, so that others will understand it. So, hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.